Welcome to Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. Our podcast showcases inspiring appraisers and professionals from the industry who are leaders in their field. How did they get to where they are? What have they learned along the way? What can we learn from them? Your host is real estate investor, entrepreneur, and appraiser, Michael Hobbs.
Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for another informative, engaging, and in this case, I'm just going to say enjoyable episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Michael Hobbs. I'm excited to have Alex with us. Alex, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks so much, Hobbs. I appreciate you reaching out and looking forward to it.
Man, that's fantastic. We're going to have a good time. And you'll get a sense of that here as we go through it. So do what only you can do, which is go ahead and hit not only that like button, because it's Alex and he cares about you, but he cares that you like him too. And more importantly, hit that subscribe button because you're sending a signal out there that, yes, this is a valuable investment of your time as you're driving across this great country towards your next opportunity or assignment, or heck, who knows, you maybe head to Nashville to see Alex. But whatever that may be, it's a powerful signal, and we appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. And of course, you'll probably have some thoughts, comments, or questions, and you can drop those down in the comment box, wherever you get this wonderful podcast. So Alex, hey, people want to know, man, were you born this way, or how'd you get into the appraisal and valuation profession?
Always a good question, Michael.
Thanks, bud.
The answer to that, I had to think about it, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
And many people from where I'm from in Arkansas might think differently.
Ooh, you're from Arkansas, man.
Yeah.
You are our first guest. We always have a first. Everybody has their own first on the pod. And here yours is being our first guest from Arkansas. I'm really excited.
Honored to be the first, but you grew up here, and my father was the county assessor in Little Rock, Pulaski County for over 20 years.
Okay.
And my mom was a residential broker for a short period. But I grew up in mapping offices and personal property offices. And a lot of tax appeal. Like I promise you, I've probably sat through more equalization hearings than most anybody.
Holy cow.
So yeah, I grew up in that part of the valuation industry with no real pressure or idea of what appraisal was or appraisers, what they actually do. Yeah, and go off to college, University of Arkansas.
Go Hogs.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
We won't talk about the Final Four at all.
No, we won't.
But yeah, didn't know exactly what I wanted to do for my undergrad, and really dabbled in kind of campus politics, local politics.
Yeah.
In college. And probably my junior year, I applied for several internships in DC to go do the real thing.
Yep.
And was accepted, had a senatorial internship.
Oh, wow.
And was assigned to the legislative side. If you're not familiar with those offices, there's usually a press or PR side, and then led the policy walks type people. And got into it, absolutely loved it. It was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I could see a clear path. There was a little bit of politics in my family.
Okay.
Going back.
You said your dad was an assessor. I assume that's an elected role there in the county?
Yes, in Arkansas, it is an elected position. Some states that's appointed, but yes, it is elected here. It is partisan, but I don't know well, partisan when it comes down to your local equalization board,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of politics stirred
I-
into it there.
No, I get. Okay.
But yeah, I love that. Actually, spent the whole summer. I begged another congressional staffer that I knew to give me another internship. I just wanted to stay. I came home literally right before 9/11, and around Christmas time, getting ready to make classes for the spring available. And a friend of mine just reached out and said, "What do you know about finance? And what do you know about this principles of real estate? Your dad, man." And I'm like, that's not me. I don't know anything about it.
Oh,
And he said, it'd be fun to take the elective together and ask around the finance department, those guys, and see, is the class hard? Is the instructor
okay.
difficult? And so we jumped into that, and it was fine. It wasn't an easy A. It wasn't a pushover
Mhm.
class by any.
You mean you didn't jump up and just teach the class?
No, I was lost as a goose besides the finance part, but
Yep.
did that. And I already had all the other requirements for my major for an emphasis in investment or portfolio management. And they said, by the way, now that you have this class out of the way, you can go ahead and take real estate finance and
Oh.
something called real estate appraisal. Was the last class. But I went back to DC that following summer, still chasing that pipe dream.
Yeah.
And it's very strange. During that summer, late summer, I want to say, the third congressional district in Arkansas all of a sudden has a vacancy. There was an appointment that came out.
Oh, really?
And so all of a sudden we've got a special election dropped
Yeah.
on our heads. And
Wow.
when that happens, you've got staff shuffling, people moving in and out of the district. And I thought, this is a golden opportunity. I can jump all over this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, what's it like to be a publicly elected official?
Not the right person to ask about that. Those are stories for other days. But
Got it. We will not ask that question then out of response and respect for this time in our little setting here.
that's all right. And it's funny you say that. Back then, living in the district, I know it was just for 2 summers, but you get to meet people from all stripes
That's true.
and political background and opinion, and we all got along, socialized together. We talked on the phone about what they do up there,
Of course.
policies, and then there was no vitriol. It was quite a different time.
Yeah, there was a level of decorum, if you will. There was a little bit of a statesmanship to it, professionalism.
Oh, yeah.
I would say to a solid degree level of honor and upstanding character nature to it. Don't get me wrong, there were always some interesting characters, but by and large, they were the crazy uncle in the corner kind of thing, not center stage.
Correct. Yes, you had some one-offs back then, but not quite some of the stuff going on now.
Yeah.
But I'll stay out of that.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, back to my origin story here.
Yeah.
So threw in with a candidate. I happened to know one of the campaign managers was a really good friend of mine, and the deal with that is you help out with this campaign and you got fast tracked to a staff position. Now you may be answering phones back in the district office, but if you play your cards, you might get a seat inside the beltway. And
Yeah.
hoping and praying and working on this thing while still going to school and
Okay.
work. I was working for an insurance company at that time, which was just mind-numbingly boring.
can
Knew I
imagine.
didn't want to go down that path.
Yeah.
So long story short, in the campaign, there was actually a runoff, which just made my blood pressure go up even more. But my candidate did not prevail.
Oh
So,
no.
yes, hopes and dreams crushed
Oh.
right in front of you.
Oh. Dang.
I thought I could probably make it there if I wanted to start answering phones for some random congressman that just really needed help, because a lot of those entry-level staffers, they're not working for their own representatives. They're,
Oh.
you might be working for a rep from Alaska or
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, but that's a tough road to hoe because you get paid nothing and someone's got to leave or get hired away for a seat to open. And those are usually spoken for by people in the district, in the office.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, at that point, I just had to put that dream on pause and say, let's concentrate. I'm about to graduate. Right when
Sure.
that happened, I had, one semester left. And my advisor said, if you'll just wrap up this appraisal class, you can have a concentration at graduation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do it. We're already
Sure.
right here at the. How hard could this be? It can't have many tentacles or nothing complex.
Okay.
And to finish that, the final was actually writing 1004
Oh.
by hand. Yeah, back before there was any online resources.
Oh.
So did that, and about a month before graduation, my dad reached out, and he never pushes or demands anything, but he suggested, which when he suggested things, I
It's basically telling you, like, you doing this, right?
yeah. You're gonna go give this a whirl. He said, I want you to go talk to this appraiser in Fayetteville.
Okay.
The office is still there over by the drive-in. Yes, we had a drive-in there. It's unfortunate.
You guys were ahead of the curve.
I wish that thing was still there so bad. It was. But when talked to this appraiser, and she said, I can't give you anything part-time, but when you graduate in May, come talk to me. We'll see what we can do. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Woof.
I graduated on a Saturday, and of all things, you'll get a kick out of this one. My dad gave me a digital camera.
Come on. Oh my gosh. That's something else.
I thought to myself, I was like, man, what a great gift. Like this dig photography, and had no idea where this was coming from. I
Oh my gosh.
wasn't the brightest bulb, but yeah, show up 2 days later to this little appraisal shop, and they say you're gonna start moonlighting, or I'm sorry, shadowing people
Okay.
for this first week or so. There was like 4 or 5 firms in that building at the time,
Yeah.
real diverse in experience and sectors of valuation that they concentrated in.
Okay.
So did that. I think I was there maybe a week, and they just handed me an assignment and said, sink or swim, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, that's where it started. And
Oh my goodness.
it was back then, and I still think a lot of your listeners probably had similar experiences in the appraisal industry. There was no real formal training. It was a here. Do you want money? Do you want to eat? So did residential work primarily there for it wasn't very long, 4 months, maybe
Yep.
6, in a little company up the road named Walmart in Bentonville.
What year is this to give people perspective?
This was 03.
Okay, okay. So we've been through Y2K at this point. World did not melt down.
We held our collective breath there for a little bit.
Yeah, you've graduated. At that point, for those, to just give you a sense of the economic conditions, we'd come out of the mini recession, depending on what industry you were in, that had occurred going into the transition from the 90s to a brand new century. And in certain industries, obviously, were firing on extra cylinders, but most of them were struggling to some degree. By 2003, there was some real strength in the economy.
Yes, you are correct. And Northwest Arkansas is not your, it doesn't have big swings, let's just say, especially back then. But Jim, Walmart came out, it was on a Thursday or Friday afternoon in a press release and said, any vendor that is going to do business with Walmart has 14 months to put personnel inside the county. Period.
What?
Yes.
Ooh,
And
wow, you talk about using your economic bicep to flex on your suppliers. Holy smokes.
yes, it didn't dawn on me. I wasn't paying attention or dwelling on that much at
Yeah.
all. But I come into work the next week and my boss says, okay, no more moonlighting for these other firms, no more residential work. You're going to strictly do commercial narrative type stuff, which I had no experience,
Wow.
had no advanced any sort of education at that point. And, the more I thought about it, I'm thinking, okay, you're going to see a lot of offices, right? Logically.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had no idea the storm that was coming, because what do they put in offices? People. And and everything that comes with that: bank branches, daycares, strip malls, fast food,
Oh my God.
and subdivisions.
Yep.
A lot of subdivisions.
Wow.
And I quickly became the subdivision guy for this little firm I was working for. And, looking back, it was so easy because there was such a spike in demand overnight for these builders that you were seeing pre-sold subdivisions just as far as you could see. And running a DCF on a 6 months absorption time, I could teach that to just about anybody. But
Wow.
what came next was just a flood of development. And at that time, Walton College there decided to partner with the economics internally master's students to start tracking this data. Home starts, lots in the pipeline, lots on the ground, which for an appraiser was just an amazing data source back in the Stone Ages, when
Yeah.
you'd have to go manually pull permits to try to figure that out.
That's true.
But then here comes the nightmare. And they put out this report every, 3 or 4 months. And it comes out, we have a year of supply. It comes out again, we have 3 years of supply on the ground. And it got to the point where it was, I think, 10 years of supply on the ground, not counting the pipeline.
Wow.
And I start having to reflect the market and tell a lot of our clients that, hey, I don't care that this is a great location and it's going to have 2 swimming pools and you can run horses or whatever. It's still going to take you 5 years, best case, to get rid of 150 lots or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by that point in my career, I had a pretty good relationship with these clients locally and regionally, and would see some of them out socially, and they'd say, Alex, we can't do this. You're killing deals. We can go down the road and get another appraiser to bend these numbers.
Yeah.
And my boss at the time, thank goodness, said, no, just don't compromise. Just tell them that's why you're here. Tell them the truth. That don't worry about that. And so I went from, I don't know, 40-ish subdivision appraisals a year down to, I think, 1 or 2. And this was '06, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And everything is just exploding in Northwest Arkansas at this point. I mean, and it hasn't stopped really, besides a little hiccup with 2010 time frame. But then I start working on distressed assets. So it was, I'd never been in a market downturn before. And in my mind, I thought all the appraisal demand would just be refinance, sales, development, and whatnot. But no, here all of a sudden, we've got, I recall one gentleman called me and introduced himself. He needed no introduction. Won't say his name on here, but chairman of the board of a very large regional bank at that time. And he said that we've got a bunch of subdivisions in foreclosure.
Yep.
And we're going to court. And I hear you're the guy to talk to. And so started doing that, which kept me in spades for quite a while. It took about 2 or 3 years to work those kinks out.
That's quite an experience. It's one thing in general to do, to be involved on the development side and handle subdivision appraisals. It's quite another to be on the default side and start to deal with putting together that data and a number of those, we'll call them documented guesses. I meant assumptions. I meant swags. However you want to refer to it. How do you catch a falling knife? And I'm like, safely, hopefully.
Exactly. And no, that's when you really do have to have some expertise when the market's going down. There's no data. That was quite a learning experience. And during that time, I had taken all the education for the MAI.
Yeah.
And finally got that 09, I believe.
Yeah.
And was working I had switched firms to work for the largest local firm, I would say.
Yeah.
Handling Northwest Arkansas primarily. Yeah. But at the same time, getting into other things, eminent domain, right away work.
Yeah.
Just a myriad of different things, from a lot of ag projects all over the state, which varies from row crops to poultry to cattle, livestock.
That's something else.
So I really got to understand the stuff that I don't like to do quickly. And I think once you've been in the appraisal profession for long enough, you start to realize, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, that's some good learning there, Alex. I'd say that's not just a profession. A lot of times that's life. Some of the best opportunities are the ones that you got exposure to and realized, yeah, I'm not gonna spend more time there.
Yes, certainly. No, and shortly thereafter, I say shortly, stayed with that firm for about 10 years in that time frame, and got the opportunity to go work for the big green monster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, took that
That's quite an
opportunity.
experience. You go from the largest firm in that part of the metropolitan area to get to go to work for a national, actually a global firm.
Yeah, it's quite the shock going from still the stone ages of technology and to be able to see the toys and resources and tools that are out there that a lot of them I'd seen, but there was still a fair amount of stuff that I hadn't. And I won't say I didn't enjoy my time there, but
Yeah.
the corporate thing was definitely not my cup of tea.
You're not alone, Alex. There are a number of those who have parachuted out of the environment, that one or others like it, over the course of their career. Thank you for giving a little language to that action that you and others have taken.
Yes, I will say there is life after working for one of the big three, big four. And about 10 years ago this month, my business partner and I decided that I think we can go off on our own and make this thing work.
Wow.
He preferred to do multifamily litigation work, although he may argue with me now about that. And I honestly didn't think I could do it on my own. And I was scared. Mince words.
Thank you. No, no. I fix it for the other one. Thank you.
So, do you guys still bedfellows?
Yes. He's at a different point in his life. I think he's ready to, excuse me, pump the brakes a little and enjoy grandkids.
Oh wow.
And I got to say, I'm probably not far behind. I wish I could retire sooner than later, but no, we're enjoying it.
That's great.
Dealing with the pressures of your own firm is, as you well know, is a whole different ballgame.
That is true. It is a different world that most people don't get exposed to, and I'd actually tell them don't bother. It's got heartache and headache that most people can't stand, and Tums isn't going to fix. And no amount of Advil or Excedrin or extra strength Tylenol is going to get you through it. That's something else. Oh man. Wow. So when you get to compare and contrast from where you started to how things developed to get this opportunity to go work for a firm that basically, if you look out on the horizon, they have the ability in talented people to handle whatever that type of asset or assignment may be. How did your learning either continue or accelerate or change as a result of that shift that you made for your professional employment?
Sure. Low getting designated, it really taught me that there's a wealth and body of knowledge out there that most don't know exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the institute. You have the society. I've taken several of their classes.
Oh yeah.
Farm managers, totally different animal for what a lot of
Oh yeah.
obviously residential and commercial appraisers do on a daily basis. And the CCIMs, for that matter.
Totally agree with you on that one. Love their education.
Yes, it's a lot different than
Oh,
your run-of-the-mill.
oh my gosh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, love their education.
Yes, so I decided to pursue that. Got my CCIM designation, I don't know, 9 years ago, 10.
Oh wow. As they say, you've been pinned for a decade.
Yes. But no real use for it other than the body of knowledge, the networking with
Oh
those
yeah.
professionals, which
Mhm.
I've never worn the broker hat. So, but to your point, that I think so many appraisers, let's say too many, not so many, myself included,
Yep.
start off in this industry as it's gig work essentially. You're trying to make a quick buck, and you don't take the time to further yourself, to become stronger and stick your neck out there and pursue education.
Yep.
And then, yes, you may have to travel. I can't stand synchronous learning myself, but obviously had to switch since COVID. But no matter what realm of the valuation industry you're in, there are groups out there and classes that you
Yep.
don't want to just go get your CE and check a box. You use that to go pursue something that is totally off the wall that you may never use
Yes.
while you can. So many of us get tied down and life gets in the way. But no, I've tried to pursue as much education. Still, it seems to be shrinking rather than growing for a lot of providers that I trust.
Yep. It's something that's obviously a big factor in impacting us as an industry and as professionals. But you touch on a piece that we have not had the opportunity yet to learn a lot about, which is there's a lot more than just good old sticks and bricks. You mentioned the whole agricultural space, and I gather you do a little bit of that these days.
We do.
Emphasis maybe on a little.
It's there's so much demand for those professionals out there, and
Mhm.
I can't tell you how few of them there are in the south central US. There's
Mm.
just, you have some foresters stirred in, which is the quasi
Yep.
agricultural, not really. It's more of a commodity to those guys, I believe. But yeah, so many different types of agricultural demand for appraisers, and just it baffles my mind why nobody wants to pursue that. And these appraisers can't get replaced quick enough in a lot of regions of our state and up and down the Mississippi.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
yeah,
Thank goodness. But you mentioned about the opportunity to have taken education in a number of different places, a number of different organizations, not just more traditional valuation of real estate. I haven't mentioned some other organizations like CCAM, but you also mentioned the agricultural and farm space. It was, as someone had recently described it, like, hey, there's a lot of things that go through the valuation process.
oh yeah,
It's just not all of them are beholden to use path.
80% of all businesses fail within 5 years, according to the US Census Bureau. With so many roles and responsibilities that must be managed and have nothing to do with appraisal reports, is it any surprise that it's hard to keep up? Much less having a sense of peace, stability, and profitability that comes from growing your business? Given all of this, you might already be thinking about exiting your business one day. Don't miss the limited opportunity to work with Michael, a real estate expert and professional coach. He has worked with more than 300 owners and entrepreneurs to find their highest and best use by solving problems that reach their most important goals. Compress decades of learning into days by working with Michael. Michael is famous in real estate and business coaching. With his help, you can accelerate your growth, increase your quality of life, and earn more money, all while ultimately doing less. Michael helps you not just grow your business, but also find new purpose in it and in your life. If you're ready to take control instead of being controlled, contact him on LinkedIn or email him at michaelh@paru.com.
No. And thank goodness there's some relief out there. Oh, I've met so many crazy appraisers across the United States. Airplane appraisers, barge, mineral, like real minerals, like 10 million cubic feet of copper.
Exactly.
And it just on and on. The more you stick your neck out and look around, it's a diverse group out there. And
It's fascinating.
yeah, and just because you're in one field when you start or now or midstream in your career, there's no reason you can't try to pursue different things or shift gear.
I agree with you on that one, Alex. It's akin to an outsider in the industry asking you, "Hey, I own this property. Can you help me out with the appraisal or the valuation of it?" And they're like, "Hey, you do real estate appraisal." And that's akin to someone assuming that just because you do real estate appraisal means that you can go right from, pick the segment of the industry, from that little threeplex or something or fourplex to their 12-story building. You're like, man, may not exactly go that way. Or as someone else joked with me rather recently, yeah, you know the difference when someone says they specialize in the aerospace area. They deal with evaluation of planes and the difference between moving between something with a propeller and something with a jet. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then some of them, it's about the series. Like, how big is that engine on the jet? Also might be another threshold for where someone either stops or starts in terms of their valuation ability. So you make a good point there, Alex.
No.
So what was it like in terms of the assignments that you worked on when you went to the national firm, having worked all locally prior to that, or I should say with a local firm?
Yes. We saw CMBS stuff, medium to large portfolio that I'm sure everybody at any of the larger firms have seen. And yeah, I got to travel a little bit, but no property types that were just so far out of my wheelhouse that I didn't feel comfortable, or they didn't have teams available to hold your hand if you're wading into
Well, that's nice.
into a new area. To that, a lot of these, at least in this region of the country, a lot of these national firms, you've seen quite a bit of pullback for whatever reason. I'm not going to speculate. Their dominance that you saw only 10, 15 years ago,
Oh yeah.
it is, I'm not going to say evaporated, but it's the environment has changed. And I don't know if that's the same in Chicago Metro or.
It's been interesting. There's been a lot of repositioning.
Oh, yeah. Can't go a day without seeing those headlines, right?
Oh, goodness. But one of the interesting things you touch on you had a call from a high-ranking banking official and said, hey, we've got a portfolio of properties that are in default. That's a little different from being connected to an assignment where you've got maybe a regional or nationwide portfolio of a particular asset.
Yes. And I think some of you, as well as some of your guests, you know,
Yeah.
expanded on this thought of becoming a professional in the appraisal field. And
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously there's bank work on one side and the more refined expert witness, like highly specialized guys on the other.
Yep.
I prefer to play in the middle there. We both know folks throughout the country that will absolutely not do one or the other of those extremes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that somebody in an institute conference, I think it was in North Carolina, maybe Raleigh,
Oh, yeah.
years ago.
Was that one was in Charlotte, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Charlotte. You're right.
Yeah.
I was visiting with an older gentleman, older appraiser, and what do you do? Where are you at? Blah, blah, blah.
Wow. You actually found one? It's so hard to find someone who fits that description of this profession, Alex. Isn't that like finding a four-leaf clover?
Yes. It was a white rhino, right? Yes. Hard to believe. But it was right after I started working for Big Green, and
Yep.
he said something to me that stuck with me for a long time. And he said, "Oh, you're on the treadmill." And I said, "Come again?" And he said, "You've got anybody that's worked for these large firms understands that there's some volume expectation there, and to not slack off from that."
Yeah.
Not to diminish or disparage those guys at all. There's
Yeah.
some excellent valuation people
Oh, yeah.
there, but I never thought of it like that. That if you want to take a pretty complex assignment, something that really is going to take a lot of time and a lot of expertise, that's a different animal from volume as opposed to whatever the opposite of that is in the valuation field. And again, some appraisers I think enjoy that work that have gotten the opportunities, while still others say, I will never do that again. But yeah, changing course to running away from just volume-based valuation work to more specialized, where you can get those clients that understand this might take me 3 months, and it is not going to be, let's say, inexpensive.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. But as it is with everything in life, it is potentially a learning opportunity. Maybe it's micro learning, and maybe it's not. And there are definitely days, maybe weeks, months, probably, possibly even years for people where maybe by the situation, but more likely by their choice, learning is not of interest or it's not a priority.
Sure.
And not surprising, those that haven't pursued that learning trajectory start to notice that the distance between them and the pack that's moving ahead is increasing.
Yeah.
And it's not because the world's just rotating a little faster. It is doing that, it seems, from a professional and technical standpoint. But man, what a difference. And in your career shows that the opportunities that you have available to you and the choices that you get to make are of greater abundance because you've made a choice to invest in your own knowledge, experience, and done that through professional development, however that came about, even if it's little Alex sitting back there in all those equalization hearings back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Back to talking about as we all started doing this as gig work, I think eventually most of us may have the opportunity to kind of see the light past the end of that, while
Yeah.
still others may be in such a volume-based situation that you said it perfectly. A lot of people just don't have the opportunity or time.
Yeah.
And I think that's unfortunate that there's more out there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, man. There's a lot to be said about that. What was it, as they like to say, the straw that broke the camel's back, that put a little fire under you and your business partners' buttocks, as they say, to get going in a new direction?
May not want to give my 2 cents on some of the exact causes on here today, but
Sure.
if you show up in, if I see you in Nashville, I'd be happier to expand on that. But
I appreciate that. And obviously, I'm not asking the question from a place to be disparaging towards anyone or anything, but one of the most valuable sources of perspective that so many of our listeners have shared appreciation for is, wow, I got to see a bit of my life or my opportunities, or maybe even my own challenges through the generous sharing of others. And so as you just look at maybe what were at a high level, some of the things that either were happening or were not happening, and you're like, maybe it's time to trade in this vehicle and get another one. And you all did.
yes, we should have done it. The only regret I have is not have. We should have done it a lot sooner.
Got it.
And there wasn't anything that particularly stuck out to me. It's just volume-based work like that is some of the most stressful positions you can be put in.
Yeah.
When you've got a ton of people both in front of you and behind you that are pushing and pulling, not always at the same time,
Oh, I see.
and not all on the same page with respect to goals, objectives, deadlines.
Got it. Yeah, so I hear lack of alignment.
Yes, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's saying.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. That's tough. Alignment's one thing. Obliviousness is another. Or ignorance. Well,
Yes.
so when you all finally made the decision to, you're like, hey, I think we might be able to make a go of this. How long did it take you all? Because most people may have that thought, but it's not necessarily the right decision. For you all, it appears that it has been. So first of all, congratulations. And second, what was it that had, as you look back, that catalyst of your success?
That's a good question. And
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate that.
it's very odd. At that exact point in time, we had colleagues locally, regionally. One of them in particular, I think you're familiar with, out of Honolulu.
Yeah.
We're all kind of commiserating together.
Oh, yeah.
And there were some technological changes about that time. And looking forward now, I think technology's going to change even faster than it did right there. But that specific time window, there was just some opportunities there, and believing in ourselves.
Yep.
And having respect from users of appraisal services in the Mid-South region, that
Sure.
you build a reputation that you're credible, reliable, and that you won't half-ass it.
Yep.
And we had several contacts that reached out to and said, hey, at that time I had a 1-year-old daughter at home, and I'm going, can I keep the lights on? I don't mind eating ramen noodles for a few months, but I was really scared that I could fall flat on my face and be
Yep.
without work. And to anybody out there, it's not as bad as scary as you think. And I know there are markets that have an oversupply of appraisers and demand is a little bit different, but
Yep.
I would say the majority of the country, there's a significant amount of work opportunity. If you're willing to go out and beat the bushes to network, to get the education that you need, to do the hard part, to go to, like you were saying the other day, you don't always want to go to that networking event, but you get to shake hands and put faces with names and run into new opportunities. And to us, it was a numbers game. We thought,
Okay.
if we could make 50 impressions, I'll use that word as a stand in here.
Yeah.
But if we can make 50 impressions, we're gonna find 10 of them. It's 15. We're gonna secure some sort of relationship here. And we also knew that you cannot let off the gas for quite a while, and don't expect anything to be stabilized for, I thought, about 2 years, really. So, which is true. But you can't ever be complacent with what you got right now. You will sink, at least in our market and with our clients. But
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
yeah, and I don't know if you recall, but about that time, we actually reached out to you
Yeah, I remember that.
to talk about hiring and training, and you were spot on with some of your tips and pointers, and your attrition rate was dead on the head there. So,
Like I said, the headache and heartache is not for the faint. I'm not saying that you have to go through it alone. I'm not even saying you should go through it, but for those that go in, uh, fair warned is forewarned kind of thing.
mhm. I couldn't agree more.
Oh, that is something else. Alex, given everything that you've seen and you've heard and you've experienced, what are you looking forward to over the next 3 to 5 years?
This is April of 2026, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
unexpected things. Let's just say that
Yeah.
on the horizon. Something that just dropped the other day that I just now had the opportunity to glance at. Have you seen that Brave acronym thing?
Yeah, I was just reading. I got an email from, it's probably from the Appraisal Institute, if I'm not mistaken. Read over that. What's your take on it?
I wanted to see what you had to say. I'm just gonna play
You're
devil's
the
advocate.
guest here, man.
Yeah.
I'm not, come on, man. I can't steal your thunder.
It sure smells like an attempt to create some sort of UAD data set from just pulling numbers out of narrative reports, or it's vague here, but I'm interested to keep an eye on that. And I would love to see how you could just pull, say, a cap rate and maybe a vacancy rate and some metric like that out of a narrative appraisal and try to pop it into this is an AI model for sure.
Yep.
And have it produce any sort of credible results or reliable. I don't know. I'm interested to read more and look into that. It looks like, yeah, there's several different
I agree.
online things coming up here on the road.
Yeah.
But for us professionally, for me and ours, I think you've had several guests that have talked about this, but passing the torch along, I don't
Mhm.
want to sound cliche, but there is a really unique body of knowledge here. And you've had some outstanding people on here that
Thanks, bud.
I'm not sure I fit into that echelon. I know I don't. Some of the experience on here that is just going to go away if it's not passed along. I think you're seeing the quality of education in the appraisal and valuation realm decay. People chasing. I don't want to point fingers or name names and
Yeah.
blame, but it appears that there's a watering down of teaching the ins and outs. And I
Mhm.
get it. It's hard to explain to a layman or a first year appraiser that there's more to it than what you think. I'm sure you've had those employees or contacts that don't understand that.
Yes.
They're so hard that they refuse to believe that what's an advanced income class going to teach me? What's a highest and best use? What's a integrated approaches for the farm managers out there? But yeah, it, it I think we have a duty to try to volunteer. I'm open to suggestions to how to facilitate this because I think I was blessed with coming up around a little bit after you. I think you got a few more grays on me here, but
Probably do, my friend. They're probably longer.
but then I think that was the golden age of appraisal education was probably the 80s, 90s, and
Mhm.
early 2000s. That's just my opinion, but yeah,
Get you on that one, man. No, man. Alex, the one commonality that we look for in guests is that they've had some experience that they're willing to share. Some of them have a lot more of it than others. Some of them have well known and even, you might say, exalted positions in and around the industry, and others are relative obscurities. But the common thread is that we look for individuals who've got experience that they're willing to reflect on
yeah,
and contribute a little bit of their perspective so that others can both be informed and maybe, in this case, educated. If nothing else, they might even be inspired. If nothing, and if none of that connects, then at least they're like, I sure ain't going to do what she did or he did. So it's a learning opportunity, like you said earlier. And that's why we always appreciate willingness of wonderful people like yourself to come on to the Perusings, Appraisers on Purpose podcast and share a little bit about their life through the profession. So I appreciate you, Alex.
yeah. Thank you, Mike. And just wanted to tell you this when I first saw your podcast out there in the ether, I literally thought if there's any person living and breathing right now that should and could do what you're doing, it is Michael Hobbs. So I just want to thank you for stepping up and jumping on this grenade that I think it's excellent. I'm a huge fan.
Thanks, man. Amen. I hope they send you on long and far away assignments so you can continue to double and triple consume the content, man. It helps the numbers and connects with more people in the process.
Right on. I try to get my daughter to click on your feed on your links there to drive.
Appreciate it, man. Every
For you.
click counts, buddy.
My wife doesn't like to listen to appraisal war stories. I don't know. It must just be me.
I'm sorry for her. She's really missing out. Her life would just get so much better if she did. Said no spouse ever, but that was a good one. Man.
Yeah.
Alex, I appreciate you joining us here on this episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. And thanks for the impact that you have had and continue to have, not only for clients, but for everybody else in the industry as well.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose. We hope you enjoyed learning from the amazing professional paths and achievements of our beloved guests. Before we go, please subscribe on your listening channel, Spotify, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other podcast channels to hear more from appraisers and valuers regarding their life and their work. After you drop a comment below, who is one friend and peer you can generously share this episode with? If you have any suggestions or questions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Just send us a message on LinkedIn and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks again for listening, and until we're together again for the next session of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose, create the change that you seek.